still don't get it, do you? He'll find her. That's what he does. That's all he does. You can't stop him. He'll wait for you, reach down her throat, and pull her fucking heart out.
Roundhouse right hand. And that's what we've been talking about. The straight shot is the one where he gets leverage on it.
I don't want to kill somebody
back
for
a little bit.
seconds.
Nah, I want a body on my record.
Now, I want to see you fight motherfuckers. I do. All right? I'm with you. I'm with you. As long as you're trying to fight the great, the best competition.
Canelo's a franchise champion in the WBC. Recently, one of your fighters, Vasily Lomachenko, became franchise champion in the lightweight division. I didn't get a chance to speak to you in Mexico, but what do you make of the WBC making him a franchise champion?
The WBC didn't make him franchise champion. Top Rank requested for Lomachenko to be franchise champion. The WBC voted on it and then said, okay. But they didn't just go out of their way to say, oh, well, I think we'll make Loma. No, Top Rank, Bob Arum and Top Rank requested that. They requested that Vasily Lomachenko have no mandatory. And Vasily Lomachenko signed it and agreed to having no mandatory, a.k.a. Devin Haney.
It came out in a recent interview to where I guess Lomachenko said that he didn't ask for the WBC franchise belt, and I think in an interview prior you mentioned that he did. So what is the truth behind that?
No, there's no lie or truth. It's a fact. His promotion company, Top Rank, contacted the WBC and requested the WBC board to consider designating him champion, the designation of the franchise champion. And we did do the voting, we did do the presentation in Cancun. Right. Lomachenko signed it.
So Top Rank requested it, the WBC voted on it, and Vasily Lomachenko signed to have it. He knew what he was doing.
Well, I think with two guys like that, I think it's justified.
How? What did they do to deserve this designation?
Not a damn thing.
Vasily Lomachenko was never a WBC champion, and Canelo Alvarez threw the belt in the trash. So what are you talking about?
I don't think you do it very much. Now, if, for example, Spence is not going to be carry on for a while, and somehow Crawford expands his titles in the welterweight division, I could see down the road Suleiman making Crawford a franchise champion.
So if Errol Spence vacates the WBC belt or moves up because Terrence Crawford is ducking him, and then Terrence Crawford gets a hold of the WBC belt, then they can just remove all killers from the WBC from fighting Terrence Crawford. They can just get rid of all of them because he will never have a WBC mandatory because he will be the franchise champion. That is the plan for Terrence Crawford and Bob Arum. That's the plan.
Because people want to see Lomachenko. They want to see a Crawford. They want to see a Canelo.
If that's your excuse, Errol Spence outsells all three of them. And he's the unified WBC champion right now. Where is his franchise belt? If people want to see three guys that you said are franchise or could be or should be or will be franchise champions, that's the reason why they're franchised, because people want to see them. Errol Spence, pay-per-views, outsells all of them. All of them. Where is his franchise belt?
And as long as these guys fight the best fighters available, who wants to burden them with mandatories that people aren't interested in?
As long as they're fighting the best guys available. Canelo Alvarez, Terrence Crawford, and Vasily Lomachenko. as long as they're fighting the best guys available, then they should be franchise champions, is what Bob Arum said. Now, again, Canelo Alvarez is already a franchise champion. Vasily Lomachenko was already a franchise champion. So he was saying this to get ready for Bud to be a franchise champion. And what he's saying is, as long as they're fighting the best guys available, then they should be franchise champions. Canelo Alvarez did not fight the best guys available. Canelo Alvarez ducked Jermall Charlo. He ducked Jermell Charlo. He ducked David Benavidez. He ducked Artur Beterbiev. He ducked Dmitry Bivol. He ducked Demetrius Andrade. He is not fighting the best guys available. Vasily Lomachenko ducked Tank Davis when Tank Davis said, "It is time." That's what he said. Then Vasily Lomachenko went a different direction. He ducked Devin Haney. That is a fact. Devin Haney was his mandatory, and he became the franchise to not fight him. Terrence Fraud Crawford ducked Errol Spence because he could have accepted the 60-40, or he could have said, "Send me the 60-40 and I will accept it." He said no. He ducked Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman wanted $10 million. He just said, "That's too much. You're pricing yourself out." Wouldn't even negotiate. Ducked him. Then he ducked Danny Garcia. And, Danny Garcia's $3 million. Well, Danny Garcia didn't negotiate. So Keith Thurman, you wouldn't negotiate with Keith Thurman, but then Danny Garcia wouldn't negotiate with you. You can't have it both ways. You duck both of them. You're ducking Showtime Sean Porter right now. He is your mandatory, and you are telling this man to stand back and stand by. You're ducking Virgil Ortiz. He's ranked number 2 in the WBO right now, and you're telling him he needs to prove himself. He's got to do some stuff. That's the same thing that Thurman said to you when Thurman was ducking you. Nobody wants to see Terrence Fraud Crawford versus Green Beans. Nobody wanted to see him versus Jose Benavidez or Amir Queen Khan or Kell Brook. No one was requesting those fights. Nobody was requesting Canelo Alvarez to fight Sergey Kovalev. Nobody was requesting Canelo Alvarez to fight Rocky Fielding. No one. They are requesting this man to fight Jermall Charlo, to fight Demetrius Andrade, to fight Artur Beterbiev. No one is even requesting him to fight the guys that he's fighting now. No one's requesting him to fight Avni Yildirim. No one's requesting him to fight Caleb Plant or Billy Joe Saunders. No one is requesting that. He wants to become undisputed at middleweight, just like he wanted to become, at super middleweight, just like he wanted to become undisputed at middleweight until it was Demetrius Andrade that he had to fight for the belt. Then he didn't want to fight him no more. Get out of my face talking about, these guys are this and that. No. You are setting up to give Terrence Fraud Crawford the WBC belt. You're going to duck Errol Spence. Errol Spence is going to move up to 154, and then mysteriously you're going to fight for that belt, and you're going to ride it out as the WBC franchise champion. Errol Spence is going to make you all kind of offers, and you are going to duck this man. You are not going to fight this man because you want to be the WBC franchise champion, which is what Bob Arum is setting up for you to be. You ain't fooling me. This wasn't caught. It just got passed over when Bob Arum did this interview. It got passed over, but now things are looking a little bit clear. Well, not even little, a lot clearer now. It's things that Bob Arum said are making sense now. Things that he said back then are making sense. Why would you even be requesting? I don't understand the concept of even requesting for Terrence Fraud Crawford to become the WBC franchise champion, because you would literally have to request for it, and then he'd have to accept it. You'd have to request, the board would have to vote on it, and then you'd have to accept it. All right. If you don't request it, they're not going to give it to you, which is why they haven't given it to the longest reigning WBC champion in boxing, Mr. Gary Russell Jr., which is why they didn't give it to Errol the Truth Spence, which is why they didn't give it to Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. There's a reason why they didn't give it to them, because they didn't request it. You must request it, and then the WBC board convenes and votes on it, and if they approve it, then you have to sign for it. And in signing for it, you are saying you're giving up fighting any mandatories. BFTB. Shout out to the LDBC. And I'm out.